Welcome to Beginner's Guide for the C programming tutorial videos. Welcome back. In today's tutorial, we are going to see the practical part of functions. In the previous tutorial video, we have seen what is function and what is the use of function and why function and different components of functions. We have seen that one in theoretical way. In case if you missed it, you find the link in the description so that you can watch that video before you watch this one. Now we are going to see the practical part of function and how it works. We know already a function is a self-contained block of statement that perform a specific task. Every C program can be thought of as a collection of these functions. As we noted earlier, using a function is something like hiring a person to do a specific job for you, isn't it? So sometimes the interaction with that person can be simple, sometimes you will find it complex. So let us implement the program of doing arithmetic operations. Arithmetic operation in the sense we know addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. We call them as arithmetic operations. So let us implement that arithmetic operations using the function. So function, as I told you, a function is a self-contained block of statement that perform a specific task. Let's say I want to perform the arithmetic addition operation. How can you do that? Let's say I'm going to create a separate function. Let's say integer. The name of the function is sum. So this function is a user defined function, meaning user, a programmer, us is the one who create our function. So the function name can be anything. It's not necessarily it's supposed to be sum. It can be add, like the way, because this is your program, this is your function. You can name them like the way that you want, but make sure that that one is not a keyword, right? So here this is a function. Here I am going to write the operation for that function. So if you want to write the program to add two numbers, the thing is simple, isn't it? So we can write the printf statement. Then maybe here we could say addition operation. Okay, in the printf statement I have said addition operation. Here maybe if you want to add two numbers, what do you need? You need two variables, isn't it? So integer, maybe let's say a comma b as a variable. Okay, you have got two variables. Then what is the next step? You need to get the values for that variables. So how can you get the values for that variable? You need to ask your user to enter the values. So for you to do that, you are going to ask the user using the printf statement, enter the values of a and b. Okay, let's say a and b. Then here user is going to enter the value for the variable a and b. So how can you get that value from the user? Using the scanf function. These things we already know, isn't it? So we are going to get two inputs for the variable a and for the variable b. So %d comma %d, one %d for us to get the variable a, another %d for us to get the value for the variable b. I'm sure that you know already these things. Right now the user is going to enter the values for the variables a and b. I hope you don't have any questions here. Then what is the next operation? Obviously we need to add the values. Now we have got the value for the variable a, and then now we have got the values for the variable b. So now what is the next operation? This function we are writing specifically to perform the addition operation. So for us to add those two numbers, again is simple. Printf, I'm going to say the sum of a and b is, let's say, how can you get that a and b value? When you add a value together with the b value, then you will get the result of the addition of a plus b, isn't it? So I hope you understand this point. So here this is just a simple thing that here we are going to perform the addition operation. If you want to add two numbers, at least let's say in this case I'm going to add two numbers. For us to add two numbers, we need to declare two variables. Then we need to get the values for that variable. That values can be collected with the input function named scanf. Now after collecting that value, we need to add those two values. So here I've forgotten one thing. We are trying to get the values for the variable a and for the variable b, isn't it? So this percentage d, the first percentage d is for the variable a, the second percentage d is for the variable b. So this is the function that we use to collect the values of the variable a and b. I hope you understand. Now let's say I'm going to perform the operation of multiplication. So the same thing, let me just copy and paste to save some time. Let's say this name of the function is multiplication. Here I can say multiplication operation. Then here let's say instead of a and b, let's say this is c and d, and then even here I'm going to change to c and d. So here the c and d, here this one is not a sum, this time is a multiplication of c and b. So here I need to multiply the values of c times d. So this is a function that we have written here to perform the multiplication operation. Then let's say if you want to divide two numbers, you can write the function for the same. So for you to do that, I'm sure it's simple. Again, you can just copy. Let me, just because of the time, let me just say this one is a division. Here I can say the division operation. Here let's say x and y, name of the variable. So I need to get x and y. Here this one is x, this one is a division operation, right? The division of x and y is, let's say here x divided by y. Okay, so now I have written three different functions, isn't it? So this is a function for the sum, to add two numbers. This is a function for the multiplication, to multiply two numbers. This is a function for the division, if you want to divide two numbers. So this is operation. Now as we know, function is a self-contained block of statement that perform a specific task. So this is a function, it is performing the specific task of adding two numbers. This is another function, it is performing the specific task of multiplying two numbers. This is another function which is performing the specific task of dividing the two numbers. So here in this program, as we already know, this main function is like a boss. So whatever that you write within the main function, that is what going to be executed. If you don't write anything in the main function, though you have got the different functions here, we call them as a sub function, these functions are not going to be executed. Same like if you work for somebody, you need to go and report to that manager, that boss. For example, I am running the supermarket, I am the boss, I am the owner for that shop. Maybe you are working for me. So this is you, and this is a work that you do for me. And this is another person, this is a work that he does for me. This is another person, this is a work that she does for me. Meaning, I have given you this job to do, but as an employee, what's your duty? You need to come and report to me, because at the end of the month, I'm the one who is going to pay you the salary. So I should know whether you have worked or not. I know the work that I have asked you to perform, but I should know that whether if you have really done that job. Like how? You need to come and report me. Sir, you asked me to do this job. I have done this one. So this is evidence. So this is evidence that I have done the job. So these things needs to be reported to the boss of that shop, isn't it? So if you don't report to the boss, maybe let's say you're coming in the morning, you're working, and then you're just going, you're not even signing in the register. Maybe as a boss, I don't even know whether you're working there or not. Unless otherwise, you have to report to me, isn't it? So I will know that you are also working there, because let's say in my company I may have 100 plus employees. Being a boss, it's not necessarily I should remember every one of you. Maybe you find that the bosses, they usually don't sit there in the shop all the time. They come and visit, they put somebody to monitor you people, then they will pay you the salary. But how do they know that you are working there? You have to report them somehow, to say maybe signing the register or something like that. So here I am a boss. The boss is empty. Since these three people are working for the boss, so this boss has got no information about this boss. So how is this boss is going to pay these people? It's not possible, right? So how can you report them in a program? So this is like a people, those who are working the different tasks. This one is a function, this one is a function, this one is also a function. But these three are not the main functions. They are called sub-functions. Being a sub-functions, they are responsible to report to the main function. So in a program, you find that there is only one main function. That main function is like a boss who manages everything, right? So these sub-functions are need to report their work to the main function. How? They are saying that sum. I am one function. What is another function name here? Multiplication. This is another guy. Then what is another function? That is a div. This is the third guy. So meaning that now this one we call them as a function calling. So this part, this individual part of these functions, we call them as an function definition. So function definition is the place where we write the logic for that problem. So this is the logic for us to add two number. This is the logic for us to multiply two number. This is the logic we write to divide two number. So these parts, these separate functions, we call them as a function definition. Function definition, which is nothing but the place where you write the logic for that particular function. Function calling, which is nothing but each function. Maybe in a program you can have even 100 functions. Maybe the problem that you are trying to solve them is a big problem. For you to solve that problem, because arithmetic operations, they can be hardly sum, multiply, division and subtraction and modulo division. That is a hardly, there are 5 operations. Let's say you are working for the company, they can have a multiple task. Again, to handle that multiple task is very difficult as a one person to handle everything. That is a reason why they do have the teams. Those teams, each teams, they will be given the task like that. This is a team 1. The task for this team 1 is add 2 numbers. The task for this team is multiply 2 numbers. So the task can be given to each group, but they are all working for this company. At the end, they all needs to be work. They all needs to be report their work to the main function. That one is called function calling. So another component is function declaration. Function declaration, which is nothing but this is simple. The name of the functions that you use in your program, that can be declared in the function declaration. So how many functions have we used them here? We have used integers, sum, integer multiply, integer division. So these are all the functions that we have used in this program. So function declaration, which is nothing but we are trying to declare the name of the functions that we use in our program. So what is the first function? After the header file, you have to write this name of the function. What is the first function? Integer sum is the first function. So that is the first declaration part of the function. Then you have to put the semicolon. What is the second function? Second function is the multiplication function, right? What is the third function? Third function is the division function. So this part we call them as a function declaration. Function declaration, which is nothing but we call them as a function declaration or function prototype, which is nothing but The name of the functions that we use in our program is called function declaration. Function calling is we need to call that function for us to perform the operation. So function definition, which is nothing but the place where you write your logic for that program. Again, when it comes to the function, as we know already, function is like a place where you are going to write the logic for that particular program, isn't it? So this is a logic for addition, this is a logic for the multiplication, this is the logic for the division. Now, do you think that these things cannot be done within the main function? It can be possible. There is no need for you to write the separate functions for you to perform the sum, multiplication, division and subtraction. All these functions, all these things can be written within the main function. Don't you think so? It's not possible. You can just remove this function calling, copy all those things. I mean, this printf statement, maybe this one, copy them in the paste them in the main function, followed by copy and paste this one, followed by copy and paste this one in the main function. It can still work. But what is the purpose for me to have the different function? In case if I find any mistake while subtracting two numbers. So if you write everything in the main function, let's say you have got here, I have got only 3 functions. Let's say I have got 100 function. You're going to write all the 100 function within this main function. In case if you find a mistake, it's very difficult for you to trace that mistake unless if you use the concept of function. In case if you come up with a mistake, for example, for instance, when you multiply two numbers 2 times 3, your result is supposed to be 6. Let's say you are getting the result is 16. So you know, I have got no problem with adding, I have got no problem with subtracting, I have got no problem with the dividing. But where is the problem? I have got the problem where I multiply two numbers. So instead of you checking all those coding part, you can go and verify, you can go and check the part, you can go and check the function which is responsible for multiplying two numbers. So what is the use of this one? As I told you already, there is a code reusability. You're not going to write the code again and again, because when you find the mistake in multiplying two numbers, it's not necessarily you need to change the coding part for the sum and division, isn't it? So you're just going to make changes in the multiplication. It will avoid rewriting the code reusability things can be done. It can save a lot of time. So this is how function work, right? I hope you understand. So when I run this one, as you can see them here, let me save this one now. Addition operation, enter the values for the a and b. Let's say 2 and 3. The sum of a and b is, why there is a sum of a and b? There is no result here. What is the mistake here? So what is the mistake here? Actually, it is failing to print the value of a plus b, isn't it? So here we are trying to add the values of a and b, though I didn't put the format specifier because a and b are integer data type. If you want to print the integer data type, you have to use the format specifier as %d. That is the reason why there is a mistake in that output screen. Even here I have to put %c because %d, just because I am going to multiply two integer values. So even here I am going to put this %d just because I am going to divide two integer value. When I run this one, let me run the first value, the second value, the sum is 4. Then the first value is 2, second value is the multiplication is 4. Maybe when I divide 2 divided by 2, the division is 1. Now it is working as expected. In case if there is any errors, in case let's say we have got errors in the multiplication, there is no need for us to check the sum and the division because the error has happened in the multiplication. So you just go and correct the error in the multiplication part alone. So this is how function works. This is a very efficient way for us to solve any complex problem. That is the reason why we use functions in our C program, in any programming languages. I hope you understood how function works in C program. In next session we will see some more examples using functions so that you can have the clear picture of function and how it works. For more tutorial videos, kindly subscribe to Beginner's Guide.